Raven Lafferty. And so I do have parents here, so I do have to give you the statutory warning. And that is that your parental rights and duties are subject to restriction or termination if you are unwilling or unable to provide your child or children with a safe environment. We are set today for an initial permanency hearing, so let's get everybody sworn in. So if you're going to testify today, I need you off of mute and to raise your right hand. All right, and so Ms. Ridgel, you may proceed.
I call Lisa Tunstall. Can you state your name for the record, please?
Lisa Tunstall.
And you're the conservatorship worker, correct?
Yes, I am.
And where are the kids currently placed?
Ava is placed with her paternal aunt, Jessica McIntyre, and Raven is placed with her father, Gary Lothery.
And how are they each doing in their respective places?
They're doing great.
Do you have any, either of them have any special needs or medical needs?
No, not at this time.
And any concerns at this time in those placements?
No, not at all.
Okay. And so I want to talk about Mr. Lothery first. How's he doing on his service plan?
Mr. Lothery is doing great. All of his drug testing services tests are negative.
Is there anything more he could be doing at this time?
Not at this time, no. He's cooperating fully.
Are you asking the court to find him compliant with his service plan at this time?
Yes, I am.
And then what about Mr. Lockaby?
Mr. Lockaby is on tier 1 still. He has done his psychological. It was done on December 13th. The recommendations for him was that he successfully complete a substance abuse treatment program, including all support and maintenance, and remain sober for 1 year, complete parenting classes, counseling, consult a physician about appropriate use of medication, maintain employment to support himself and his child, establish a safe and drug-free sanitary and permanent home, resolve all outstanding legal issues and not be involved in any illegal activities. Those were the things on his psychological. He said he recently completed his Andrews Center assessment. I'm waiting on those notes. He does have a job, but I have not been provided any proof of employment.
Go ahead.
He completed his drug assessment, but he has not been compliant in making his sessions or contacting his counselor recently. His counselor is recommending inpatient treatment, but that has not been initiated yet. He has new criminal offenses. He was arrested on March 30th for theft. His recent drug tests are positive.
What are they positive for?
Methamphetamines and amphetamines.
Is that hair and UA?
Correct. Starting in, they were negative. January 2021, UA was negative, and also December. But then in February, his UA and hair are positive for amphetamines and methamphetamines. And then his March drug test, he did not show up. So that was considered positive.
And what about visitation?
Visitation is appropriate. He does come to his visitation. He brings appropriate food and things to do. He interacts well with Ava.
So are you asking the court to find that he's non-compliant with his service plan today?
Yes, I
am. And what about Miss Lothery?
Miss Lothery is still on tier 1. She has attended 2 parent collaboration groups. She completed a psychological on January 4th. The recommendations were to satisfactory, complete a substance abuse rehab program and comply with all follow-up and support regimens, abstain from illicit substances and remain sober for a period of 1 year, complete counseling, complete parenting classes, establish and maintain financial support and employment, establish and maintain a sanitary, safe, drug-free, and stable home, co-parent counseling, resolve all outstanding legal issues and not be involved in any illegal activities. Those were the things on her psychological. She completed her Andrews Center assessment in March, and I'm waiting on those notes from the Andrews Center. She said she is doing a 12-step program and has a sponsor, but I have not been given any sign-in sheets. She's not compliant or honest about the different people living in her home. Concerns about the safety and stability of the home.
Who is living in her home?
From the time of removal, on the removal affidavits and notes, there was a Dawson Barnes. And as of December 7th, he was still in her home.
And why do you say that?
And I'm sorry.
Why do you say that?
Well, I saw him going into the home. He lived in the home previously. He was seen in the home. And then he was in the parking lot on December 7th while Miss Lothery had a visit with her children. And she told me that he had left and he was no longer living there and he was in Austin. But yet he was in the parking lot and 2 caseworkers went out and talked to him.
And what about her drug testing?
Her drug testing. It was positive December for amphetamines, methamphetamines. In January, on January 5th, which was also the same day as her visit with her children, she tested positive for amphetamines and methamphetamines. Her February UA was negative. Her February hair strand was positive for amphetamines, methamphetamines. Her March UA was negative.
And was she recommended to go to inpatient?
Yes, she was. She was actually recommended in February by her counselor for inpatient. And then she did complete her EDCATA and they recommended her on March 30th, but it has not been initiated yet.
Okay. What about her visitation?
Her visitation is appropriate and it goes well.
And so are you asking the court to find her non-compliant with her services today?
Yes, I am.
Okay. What's the permanency goal for the kids?
The permanency goal is family reunification with an emphasis on Gary Lothery and that Raven stay with her father. And then a concurrent goal of alternate family fictive kin adoption with the emphasis that Ava stay with her aunt, Jessica McIntyre.
Are you wanting the judge to put an order in place regarding mother's hair?
Yes, I would like to ask the judge if he could order Miss Lothery not to dye or bleach her hair going forward.
And what's the reason for that?
She does dye and bleach her hair, and she didn't seem too happy about it when I talked to her about it previously. So I wanted her to understand the gravity of it.
Okay. Is there anything else that you feel the court needs to know today?
No, I do not.
I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Harrington.
Ms. Tunstall, as to the inpatient treatment plan for Sarah, what needs to be done to initiate that or at this time?
She needs to call and check availability
And what is that? What is that facility?
It's a Centacor treatment facility in Tyler.
Are you aware, are there any available spots at this time at Centacor?
I'm not. She was told just to keep checking back daily.
Has the department looked at any possible options or scenarios where both the children could be placed in the same place?
At this time, no, we're very happy and feel that the kids are thriving in the placements that they're at. And those two caregivers make the initiative and make sure that the girls get to see each other.
I'll pass the witness. Thank you, Your Honor.
And Mr. Hunt?
Ms. Tunstall, you mentioned that there was a positive hair follicle. I think it was in February. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was there a hair follicle done prior to February?
Yes, sir. There was in October. It was negative.
Okay. You mentioned that Mr. Lockery, well, and let me ask you this. Part of Mr. Lockery's service plan is to maintain employment. Is that correct?
Are you talking about Mr. Lockaby?
I'm sorry. Yes, Mr. Lockaby. Yes.
Yes. He
Okay.
is too.
Okay. And are you aware that he is working?
He told me he's working, but I haven't seen any proof of it.
Okay. And if he works for a place that just pays him cash on the day, what would you need to get proof of his employment?
I would need to ask my supervisor specifically what we would need.
Okay. And you mentioned that he had missed a drug test. What day was that?
That was on March. It was a Friday, March 17th. I need to look at it and see.
That's okay. That's okay. But you think it was a Friday?
Yes, I believe it was maybe the 19th of March because he had a visit that day as well.
Okay. And how did you notify Mr. Lockaby to take that drug test?
I believe I told him personally after his visit.
And has there been a time when you texted Mr. Lockaby to go take a drug test and he didn't do it?
No, he's always gone whenever I've told him in person or by text.
Did Mr. Lockaby tell you anything about an issue with going to take a drug test after this visit? Some reason he couldn't do it?
In March, he told me later when we talked, he told me that he thought he went and he was going to check on it. And then when we met again, he did tell me that he did not go.
Okay, but he never gave you, he never told you why he didn't go. What you're saying?
No, sir.
Okay. You mentioned that Mr. Lockaby Lockaby was arrested. So we've got two very similar names here. I apologize. Mr. Lockaby was arrested for an offense, but would you agree that he has not, an information or an indictment has not been filed? Would you agree with that?
I don't know the criminal proceedings. I just know that he was arrested on that day.
Okay. He was arrested. Would you agree that as he sits here today, he is innocent of that charge?
Correct.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
And Mr. Smith?
You may have said, but I'm not sure I heard, has the mother in this case been making all of her visits with the children?
Yes, sir.
And are those visits appropriate?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
Ms. Rizal, any further witnesses?
Yes, I'd call CASA's recommendation today.
Our recommendation is that the children stay in the placement where they are. They're very happy there. I've observed visits with the parents, and the parents are appropriate during visits. But the needs of the children are being met where they are, and that is where I think they should stay, and the department should continue to temporary manage and conservatorship.
And any further witnesses, Ms. Ridgel?
No, Your Honor.
All right, and Mr. Harrington, any witnesses?
I call him Mother Sarah Loffery. And can you tell the court what the status is and what you've been doing to try to get into the inpatient treatment with Centocor?
Okay, so I did call and do my COD assessment, and I was told to contact Centocor on a day-to-day basis to see about a bed and an opening, and I've been doing that. And I had asked them if there was anything that I could get, like proof to be able to show that, and they said no, not until I actually got an appointment for a bed. So I have been doing that.
And are you going to continue that until you are successful at getting into that program?
That is correct.
Okay. I'll pass the witness check. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Ridgel?
No questions.
Mr. Hunt?
No questions.
Mr. Smith?
No questions.
All right, Mr. Harrington, any further witnesses?
No, sir.
Mr. Hunt, any witnesses?
I'll call Jerry Lockaby.
All right, go ahead.
Mentioned to me when we talked yesterday about a time when Ms. Tunstall had texted you during the day when you were at work to go take a drug test. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you currently working?
Yes, I am.
And what do you do?
I do construction.
Okay. On the day in question, when you're talking about that she texted you, were you working that day?
Yes, I was. It was on a Tuesday.
Okay. And when you go to work, do you deal with like carrying around heavy loads, moving things around, and I guess hammering and nailing and that kind of construction?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What do you do with your cell phone while you're at work?
I leave it in the truck
Why?
so I don't break it.
Okay. Are you concerned about the nature of your job being potentially dangerous to the good well-being of your cell phone?
Yes.
Okay. So on this day, did you get this text message from Miss Tunstall?
On a Tuesday?
The one that you said you got on your cell phone I think on a Tuesday is what you said. Yes.
Yeah, it was on a Tuesday.
What time of day did you get that message?
I got it right before I got off work,
And approximately what time of day would that be?
about 4:30.
Okay. On the message, did it say what time Miss Tunstall had sent the message?
About 12.
Okay. And so at 4:30, when you retrieved your cell phone and looked at the message, did you have time to go and do a drug test today before the drug testing place?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Ms. Tunstall mentioned you were asked after a visit to go do a drug test. Is there some reason you did not go do that drug test?
No.
Well, you were visiting on a Friday, is that right?
Yes.
And what time of day is your visit?
Usually from 9:30 to 10:30.
Okay, so it's in the morning.
Yes, sir.
You typically leave the visit and go to work.
Yes.
Okay. Were you concerned about getting back to work so that you could keep your employment
Yes,
when
sir.
you left that day?
Yes.
Okay. And you and I talked about that yesterday, and I said, and I advised you that, hey, if they ask you to go do a drug test at the end of your visit, you need to go ahead and go do it right away. Didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And you had a little hiccup in February with the drug test positive. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Have you completed a drug assessment of some type? like an ETCATA evaluation or something like that?
Yes, I'm waiting on them.
Okay, have you actually talked to them already or not?
But I'll talk. No, I did a psychological evaluation, not a COTA.
Okay. So you haven't done any, have you done a drug evaluation with somebody else, maybe Stephanie Teal or somebody like that?
Yeah, I've been seeing Stephanie too.
Okay. Has Ms. Teal made any recommendations to you concerning drug use?
Yeah, inpatient rehab.
Okay. Is that something you're willing to do?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And you know that could be anywhere from 28 days to who knows, 6 months. I don't know how long it could last. You understand that, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And so you understand that it's important that you remain drug-free for your child's sake. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Are you willing to communicate with Ms. Tunstall whenever you're going to work and let her know, hey, I'm going to be at work all day today, so that hopefully she won't send you a text message in the middle of the day to go do a drug test that you may not get because you left your phone in your truck to protect your phone?
Yes, I will.
Okay. And I actually advised you that, and your job is dependent on the weather. Would you agree?
Yes.
Like if it's raining, you don't go out and work. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. So every day, if you're getting ready to go to work that day, will you text Miss Tunstall and let her know that, hey, I'm planning on going to work here in 10 minutes and, I plan on working till 6 p.m. tonight, so that she'll know that you're working that day.
Yes, I will.
And now, you understand you're kind of behind the ball on your service plan right now, right?
Yes.
Are you willing to step it up and do whatever it takes so that you can be the best dad to your baby?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you understand it all falls on you now, right?
Yes.
You're going to have to step up and do all these services and get them done as quickly as possible, because we're 6 months or so into your case. You understand that, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Rizzo,
No questions.
Mr. Harrington,
Questions?
Mr. Smith,
No questions.
any further witnesses, Mr. Hunt?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Lawfrey, if you could take yourself off of mute for me. And I haven't
sir.
been ignoring you. I know you're here, and you have Raven in your home. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. Anything that you think I need to know about that, or anything you want to tell me today?
No, sir. I mean, she seems to be very happy. She likes going to get visitation with her mom and seeing her. She's thriving. She's really opening up. I haven't seen her so happy, in a long time. So I mean, she's good. And like I said, me and Jessica try to correspond with each other to make sure the girls get plenty of visitation outside of CPS's office. I put Raven in daycare with Ava, so she gets to see her of a morning and of an evening. I take Raven to daycare at 6 o'clock in the morning. That way she gets plenty of time in the morning with her sister. I think everything's good where it's at, and I just, wish things continue to get better for everybody.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Smith, any witnesses or recommendations?
I just had a quick question for Mr. Lowry.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lowry, I understood that you moved. Is that right?
Yes, I'm living in Maybank with my brother and my sister-in-law right now.
Okay. And is that a permanent kind of placement for you guys? Do you have enough room?
Oh, yes, sir. Me and my 15-year-old son, we share a room, and then my Raven and my niece share a room. It's a four-bedroom house, 2 baths, big backyard, big front yard. But no, it's not a permanent placement. I'm in the process of trying to find our own place. It's just kind of hard to do that right now, everything that's going on. I'm looking and trying to find something that's in the area of, everything's accommodating to everybody as far as the schools, the daycares, the CPS office. and it's something that, it's accommodating for us.
Yes, sir. But it's not it's an indefinite, you can stay there as long as you need to, right? They're not telling you you have to leave.
Oh, no, sir. No, sir. Yeah, we can stay there as long as we need to until we find a suitable place.
Okay. Thank you. Pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Ridgel, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Harrington,
No, sir.
Mr. Hunt,
No, Your Honor.
anything further, Mr. Smith? Any recommendations?
I would make a recommendation. I've been able to visit with both children, and I think both are thriving in their current placement. I also think that Mr. Lowry and Ms. McIntyre are taking the initiative to make sure that the children have extensive contact as much as they possibly can. And I also was able to observe a visit with the mother and both children, and it was appropriate. I'm concerned about the timeline, obviously, if there's still substance abuse issues in regards to when the case is going to conclude, if we're looking at inpatient treatment for at least two of the parents. But I think that I'm asking the court to maintain the department as the managing conservator of the children, keep them in their current placement, which I think is really helping them.
All right, thank you. Well, the department is going to continue as a temporary managed conservator of both Ava and Raven, and I will approve the placements. It sounds like they're the most appropriate place and certainly in the best interest of the children at this time. And I'm glad that there's sibling contact there. I will also approve the visitation schedule. Now I'm going to let both Ms. Lawfrey and Mr. Lockaby know you guys need to step it up. I mean, it's just that at this point in the game, we're halfway through a CPS case, and you're not even really. I mean, you've started making progress, but you're not really taking steps. And so we really need that to take place. The first step is going to be these inpatient programs, and I know it takes time to get in them, but that's just something that you have to start working on. And keep working on getting them there. But in the meantime, you got to stop using any kind of substances, any intoxicating substance whatsoever. That includes alcohol, marijuana. It really doesn't matter. Okay, so that's something that needs to take place. That's going to put us about 9 months into a case, and it's only about 60 days until your final hearing at that point. So you really need to have made some significant progress by the time we come back, or you're going to be way behind the 8 ball. And I'm going to go back to that warning that I gave at the very beginning. Your parental rights are subject to this. Mr. Lockaby, I am going to take a step further than Mr. Hunt. I suggest you check your phone at least every hour and a half, 2 hours to make sure there's not a text. And, you're going to have to get, some way of making this happen. You're in the middle of a CPS case. You don't have a normal life anymore. Okay. So you have to make these things happen for both of you. And I need you to do that. All right. So we'll be back on July. Yeah. Mr. Hunt,
Yes, I'm sorry. My internet's still shaky here. Your Honor, I would just ask Ms. Tunstall, I did have a conversation with Mr. Lockaby concerning making the drug tests. I would just ask Ms. Tunstall to try to work with him to impact his job as little as possible. And at least until he goes to an inpatient drug treatment, I understand. But if she could, whatever she can do to try to minimize the impact on his employment.
They generally do. But again, this is a CPS case.
Right.
So,
I
all right,
understand.
and I will say, working day jobs is not a stable income either. So, if it was a steady job, it would be a little different. All right.
Well, and I think it is, Your Honor. I think it is it's just that it's construction, so it's relying on the weather.
Well, you also mentioned that he was paid in cash daily, That's not a typical.
Well, and yes, I believe that is the correct.
Okay. All right. So we're going to be back July 23rd for permit review after final. Everybody's at. And I did meet with Jessica in a breakout room. Had a good conversation. She's a real pleasant young lady. I really do. You know, she's got a plan, and I think that she's definitely got things going in the right direction. So let's get everybody's schedule. You may call your first witness.
Call Katie Richburg. Can you state your name for the record, please?
Katie Richburg.
Where is Jessica currently placed?
She's currently placed in New Life Children's Treatment Center in Canyon Lake, Texas.
What's her level of care?
It is currently specialized.
Okay, and how's she doing in that placement?
Since I've gotten the case, I've seen her behaviors improve quite a bit, and also her grades in school are improving. She's working really hard in school to get her grades up, and she's passing all of her classes from the last progress report that I've seen.
And what's the permanency goal for Jessica?
Family reunification, I believe. We don't have a family plan in place.
And so that's with Miss Whiteman?
Yes.
Okay. And what is preventing Jessica from going home currently?
Well, when I talked to Jessica, she says that her mom, Miss Whiteman, says that she can come home at any time. And Miss Whiteman has told me, why don't we just try Jessica out for the summer? So we are concerned about the permanency of that. Just what if it doesn't work out, basically.
Okay. Is she, does she do visits right now back home?
She did have a visit early March, and Miss Whiteman is allowed to visit her anytime she would like. And Miss Whiteman has told me that she would not be driving to meet them halfway or going to the placement due to how far the placement is away. But Jessica is welcome anytime if somebody can get her and bring her to her house.
How did the last visit go?
From what I've been told, it went well, except for when Jessica learned that she was not going to get her phone. She did want to leave, but she ended up staying for the week, and it went well.
Why wasn't she able to have her phone?
Just due to concerns about a boy that she was asking to be on her phone list, and just not being sure about that situation.
So what are the concerns that, or does the department have any concerns if Jessica were to go home for the summer?
Our concern would be that if things don't work out and we have to find a new placement for her very quickly, and also we're just concerned about that, the stability of it, and if somebody's going to be able to be around Jessica during the day, just in case something happens, because Jessica does not have her driver's license. She could not drive to town for help or anything such as that.
And Miss Whiteman works, correct?
Yes.
And she stated she wouldn't hire anybody or pay for Jessica to be watched by anyone during the day. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So are there any services that we're asking Ms. Whiteman to complete currently, or are there any services that we feel would be beneficial to her?
There are not any services that are in place currently. If it's in the best interest, we could develop a family plan and put that in place.
Okay. Is there anything else you feel the court needs to know today?
Not at this time.
So today, are you asking the court to maintain Jessica in her current placement and continue the department as a conservator?
Yes, until her level of care is decreased.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Hunt?
Yes, ma'am. Jessica's birthday is February 4th. Is that correct?
I know yes, February 4th.
Okay, so she just turned 17 years old. If my very bad math is correct. Is that
Yes.
accurate? Okay. Is there some plan in place for her to get a driver's license? Or to take the
Not
courses necessary, I guess?
not that I'm aware of at this time. I'm not sure if her current placement works on things such as that.
Is
But
that
we can
something you,
check.
I'm gonna say, is that something you could look into?
Yeah, I will check with her case manager at the placement.
Okay. And is it a particular boy that they're not wanting her to talk to, or they're not wanting her to talk to boys at all? Or what is the situation with the phone?
The situation with the phone is that Miss Whiteman and the department were concerned about who this male was, due to we just were unsure about him and we didn't have much information on this male friend of Jessica's.
Okay. Well, and I mean, you understand that if she was a typical child living at home with her parents and going to public school, she'd be interacting with boys at school all day. Would you agree?
Correct. And our issue
Okay.
is not her interacting with boys. We just are unsure of this particular male's age, and we were not able to verify his age.
Okay. So it's okay. I understand now. Would the department explore ways or be willing to explore ways to get her a phone that blocks contact with this boy somehow? If that's even an option?
I would have to look into that because I cannot give you an accurate answer because I'm unsure.
Well, and that's all I'm asking is would the department be willing to look into if that's even an option?
I could see if that would be an option.
Okay. And without getting too detailed, Miss Whiteman is not Jessica's biological mother. Is that correct?
That is correct.
But Miss Whiteman, Jessica's lived with Miss Whiteman almost all of her life. She grew up with Miss Whiteman. Would you agree?
From what I understand, yes, Miss Whiteman has been the primary mother to Jessica.
Okay. So Miss Whiteman is not willing to, and now you said Jessica's placed in Canyon Lake, which is just north of San Antonio. Is that accurate?
I would have to look at a map, but I believe so. It's down in that area.
Okay, so it's probably a 4 or 5 hour drive from this
Yeah.
area. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. But Miss Whiteman is unwilling to, I believe, if I understand your testimony correctly, unwilling to even maybe drive halfway or meet somebody somewhere to facilitate a visit with Jessica. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay.
She has told me that it's too far of a drive for her to do by herself.
Okay. And has the department offered to have somebody meet her part way so she wouldn't have to drive the entire distance?
Yes, whenever I picked Jessica up in March for her spring break visit, I met the placement in Madisonville.
Okay, so that's probably about halfway. Would you agree?
I think it's approximately halfway, but it's actually a little closer to Athens than it is to
Okay.
Canyon Lake.
Okay, and that's probably about a 2 hour drive. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay, and so Miss Whiteman, did y'all explain that to Miss Whiteman that maybe they could meet in Madisonville or something?
Yes.
And she was still unwilling to do that?
Correct.
Is there any type of, I don't know what you call it, family counseling between Miss Whiteman and Jessica being offered to Miss Whiteman?
Not at the moment, but we can put a family plan in place if that is what is recommended.
And I know you haven't been on the case all that long. This is a fairly old case and you haven't been on it very long. Is that accurate?
Yes, I was assigned the case in February.
Okay. And so if I ask you something and you don't know, I understand. It had been offered in the past, some type of family counseling. Do you know about that?
I'm unsure at this time.
have you talked to Jessica about any other potential places that she could go, family members that she could go back to?
Not any family members, but the last thing, the last update on what Jessica would like to do, if she was not able to go home, was for us to find her a foster home that is closer to Athens. So visits with Miss Whiteman would be easier.
And when you say a foster home, are you talking about like what she's in now? Is that an RTC?
Yes, it is.
So she's asking you for maybe some type of maybe a specialized foster home, but a less restrictive environment. Is that
Yeah.
what she's asking
Yes,
for?
whenever her level of care gets dropped, we definitely want to find her something less restrictive, because she will get dropped down to moderate when it does get dropped.
Okay, so that would be the next step, is from her current level to moderate.
Yes,
At that point, she would be eligible to go to maybe a specialized foster home.
I believe so. Yes.
I'll pass witness.
Any further witnesses, Ms. Ridgel?
Yes, I'd call Casa. And what's Casa's recommendation today?
Status quo. I'll agree that Jessica has been doing better. Her behavior, her grades in school. I'm really proud of how good she's been doing. She has mentioned to me wanting to be moved to Hope Haven, which is kind of like a group home setting in the Tyler Lindale area. I'm not sure if that's possible, but I did want to mention that to the court, that that's something that Jessica's interested in. If her behavior, she's done a great job. She's doing very well. Hope Haven is one of my personal favorite group home for girls. And I think that that environment, and also being closer to her mother, so visitation might be a little bit easier. I just don't know if that's something that could be explored or if that's a possibility, but I just wanted to mention that to the court. But for right now, she's doing very well.
Do you have any thoughts on summer, like an extended summer visitation with Ms. Whiteman?
This is the first that I'm hearing of it. I know that Jessica had a really great time when she went to, I believe it was a week with her mom. She would love to see her more often. If it is a possibility for a summer visit, I will coordinate with my volunteer, coordinate with Ms. Whiteman, and we'll go out and we'll visit with her. At this moment, I don't have any concerns. So I guess we'll just have to work from there and have discussions about if it's even a possibility, but it's something that I am open to.
Pass the witness.
Mr. Hunt?
I have no questions.
And any further witnesses, Ms. Ridgel?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Hunt, any witnesses?
Jessica, you were able to talk with the judge before we started the hearing today. Is that right?
Yes, sir. But
And now, well, and I don't want to talk about what you and the judge talked about. That was private between y'all. Okay.
I froze.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't want to talk about what you and the judge talked about because that's private between you and the judge. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, you're wanting to go either home with Miss Whiteman or to a less restrictive foster home. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir. And I had a lot in plan. Like I had more in plan, but I already told I told my case manager and stuff like that. Like I was mentioning job court like a few months ago too, and it was in San Marcos here, somewhere in San Marcos. And I was telling her that I wanted to go. Then like a few days later, I was like, I don't want to go anymore. But like I keep I don't know, I want to go still, but I just it's too much stuff. Like I'm just frustrated with it, and it's all piling up into one ball, and I'm like, I don't want to go, I want to go, I don't want to go. It's just I don't know, it's just too much.
Well, you're 17 years old, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And so you're on the edge of being an adult. Would you agree?
Yes, sir.
And so there's a lot of things to think about. It's kind of scary, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's normal. That's okay. do you talk to is Miss Coffee, is that your counselor or therapist or something?
That's my therapist.
Okay, do you talk to her about those issues?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you know that's what she's there for, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you feel comfortable with it? And is Miss Coffee in the room with you?
No, ma'am. I mean, no, sir.
That's okay. Do you feel comfortable with who is in the room with you? Do you feel comfortable talking with who's there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you and Miss Coffee get along okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would you like to get your driver's license?
Yes, sir. Because I'm gonna
Okay.
have to like learn how to drive one point in my life. Like it's just I don't want to be like anybody who just like depends on everybody else and stuff like that. I want to be
Okay.
like somebody who makes something out of themselves and like prove people wrong and stuff. Yeah, like yeah.
Do you want to be self-sufficient? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. Now, would you like to go home at least for the summer with Miss Whiteman?
Yes, sir.
Okay. They mentioned that you're doing well in school. How much longer do y'all have left in school this year?
We only have like one more month until school's out, basically.
Okay, so the end of May.
Yes, sir. Then we
Okay.
have like summer school.
Are you going to work and keep your grades up?
I'm like literally trying
Doing your best?
and doing my best. Like I have to do like get all my credits. I have like probably 4 credits, 4 things I need to catch up on for like credits recovery and stuff like that. Like bio, I didn't finish the second semester. I think I took bio in 10th grade. I didn't finish the second semester. I didn't get to do it. And I need geometry the first semester for this year. I just need to get all of them up. Then English 2, I'm stuck in English 2 for right now, but I'm doing credit recovery for English 3 for me to get my credits for that. And I just need the English 2 semester A. So first semester on English 2. So that's basically
Okay. Have
all.
you talked to whoever your instructors are so that you can get a plan to catch up on all that?
Yes, sir. We had a talk about that yesterday. And my chemistry teacher, she already put me in bio for the second semester today. So like I'm working on that today already. So yeah.
Okay. And you understand that a high school degree is important if you want to be self-sufficient. You understand that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I already have,
Go ahead.
I said I already have my 22 credit plan already, my graduate's plan, whatever.
Okay.
Instead of doing 26, I'm doing 22. So yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to say here today that we haven't talked about? And like I said, I don't want you to tell anybody what you and the judge talked about, but anything else you want to say that we haven't talked about?
No, sir.
Okay. I'll pass witness.
Angela, any questions?
No questions.
Any further witnesses, Mr. Hunt?
I have no further witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, any recommendations?
Honor, I would like to see Jessica get some type of extended summer visit with Miss Whiteman. I mean, at some point, we can't just keep extending this and keep extending this. It is going to depend on Jessica's behaviors being appropriate and her finishing up the school year at least. My concern is Miss Whiteman's effort that she's putting in. I appreciate Miss Whiteman and what she's done to this point, but I would like to see her put forth maybe a little bit of effort in this case, Your Honor.
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
All right, and the department is a joint managed conservatorship with Ms. Whiteman, so that will be maintained at this point. I will approve the placement for Jessica, and I will say my conversation with Jessica was very pleasant. Very, I mean, there was, she does have plans. She has things that she wants to do. whether that's going to be something she can accomplish, that will be up to her. And I think she knows that. And so the thing that is my concern about all of this is Jessica's making improvements. Jessica's making an effort to actually get her life in order so that she can enter adulthood in a fashion that will make her successful. I want to make sure everybody here is supporting that and making that easier for Jessica. And when she does things good, she needs to be rewarded for that. And I hope that there can be an extended visit with Ms. Whiteman, and that she can, have a least restrictive environment to be in, because she deserves that. She deserves to be able to be successful. When she does good things, she needs to be rewarded for those good things. And I think she definitely has a plan, and that's something that it's sometimes that's a difficult thing for kids that are becoming adults to have. And I think this has been something that Jessica struggled with a little bit in the past, is getting that incentive to go forward. I think she has that. So at this point, that's about all I can say on it. But I would like to see something happen this summer. And Ms. Whiteman does probably need to step a little bit more in the direction of committing one way or another, because I think a commitment would be important to Jessica. And so that is something that I think is important for young adults, especially, to understand that they're going to have somebody there beside them, because this world gets scary at 18. It gets scary at 54, by the way. So, but it's nice to have somebody there with you. All right. So, we're going to kind of maintain status quo, but if we can make something happen this summer, that would be really good. But I also don't want to blow up a placement that seems to be working right now either. All right. Okay, which is a permanence review after final. And so we will be back at that time to review kind of where things are at and kind of see what the plan is for when she turns 18. We're set today for a permanence review. Is new.
Thank you. I call Melissa Bennett, and are you the conservatorship worker for Caden?
Yes, ma'am.
And where is he currently placed?
He's placed in the same foster home in Smith County.
Okay, and is he with a sibling there?
He is with 2 siblings.
Okay, and he's been there for a long time, right?
Yes, since January of 2019.
Okay, and how's he doing?
He's doing very well.
Any health or other concerns?
No concerns at all.
He's not old enough for school yet, is he?
Correct. He just turned 2 in January.
Okay, he's developmentally on target?
Yes, ma'am.
Is the placement meeting all his needs?
Yes, they are.
So are you asking the court to maintain him in that placement?
Yes, ma'am.
So we've been in a holding pattern on this case, fair to say.
Yes.
We have, mom is Crystal Knight, correct?
Correct.
And she's been out of touch with the department for well over a year, is that right?
Correct, since July of 2019.
Okay, and so she hasn't completed any of the services on her plan, is that right?
That's right.
Okay, and we've been in a holding pattern because Mr. Knight has requested a jury trial, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And he is currently incarcerated, is that true?
Yes, it is.
And he's been incarcerated for a majority of the case, but he's also been out some during the case, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Has he completed any of the services on his plan?
He has not.
Okay. And so both parents would obviously be not in compliance, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But we did get recently the results of the paternity test that we had done on Mr. Knight. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you take a look at the document that I emailed to everyone, marked Exhibit 1? And does that appear to be a copy of the paternity test results that have been filed with the court?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that exactly what you received from the genetic testing facility?
Yes.
Move to admit Exhibit 1.
Any objection, Mr. Scott?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Hawkins?
No objections, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith?
No objection.
All right, petitioners will be admitted without
And
objection.
does it show that with a extremely high probability that Mr. Knight is the father of Caden?
Yes.
So we're asking the court today to go ahead and adjudicate him to be the legal father of Caden.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're currently set for a jury trial on May 24th. Is that true?
Yes, it is.
But our extension, or our last extension, only extends out to May 10th. Is that your understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
So are you requesting that the court go ahead and enter an extension pursuant to the latest Texas Supreme Court COVID emergency order and extend it out to September 1st, but mainly just for the purpose of getting us to our jury trial?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And anything else you feel the court needs to be updated on at this time with regard to this case?
I do not.
Okay, thanks. Pass the witness.
Scott, any questions?
Ms. Bennett, you gave me an update on attempts to find my client. Yeah, I think you had spoken to some relatives of hers, but they didn't know where Miss Knight was at this time. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So no idea right now how to locate her, how to even go about doing that.
Correct.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Hawkins?
I don't have any questions today, Judge.
All right, Mr. Smith?
No questions.
All right, any further witnesses, Ms. New?
I would just call CASA if we have CASA.
Yeah,
Yep, I'm sorry. Right. Could you state your name for the record?
Cindy Oliver.
I'm sorry, I didn't see you. You were right too close. And what's CASA's recommendation?
To say status quo. I've known this foster family over 4 years because I was the CASA in the previous CPS case. And he's with 2 of his youngest siblings. It's a wonderful, loving home, and he's doing great. So everything's going very well.
Thank you. Pass the witness.
Mr. Scott?
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Hawkins?
I don't have any questions, Judge.
Mr. Smith?
No questions.
Any further witnesses, Ms. New?
No, Your Honor. Department rests.
Mr. Scott, any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Hawkins, any witnesses?
I don't have any witnesses, Judge.
All right, and Mr. Smith, any witnesses or any recommendations today?
No witnesses, Judge. I concur with CASA in terms of a recommendation. I think that the child is doing extremely well in his placement. He's also placed with his siblings. He has contact with his other siblings. And I have received the DNA results. I think that as well as the court's jury setting. But I'm asking the court to maintain the status quo pending that jury trial. And I guess that really the only reason I can think to extend it is the court's already set the trial, and this is a necessary COVID extension so we can get this case concluded.
Thank you. All right, and Mr. Hawkins, just to ask you, if I remember correctly, Mr. Knight is subject to be released fairly quickly. Is that correct?
Judge, that's my understanding as well. But as to when that's going to be, I don't know.
Yeah, asking what TDCJ is going to do is just, I don't know. Okay. Well, the department is going to be named as going to continue as the temporary managing conservator of Caden. And I will approve his current placement and find that's in his best interest at this time. And I will grant an extension under the emergency orders related to the COVID pandemic, which will make our new dismissal date September the 1st.